So this is my DIY wooden car ramp build, and they're heavy as hell. I have yet to try them out. We'll do that in a little bit, but I just wanted to go over how I built these and the little features that I built in that I didn't really see other people doing so much in theirs. So first off, as you can see, I got this little platform bit. I wasn't really sure if it's necessary, but as you can see, I'll be working on unleveled ground. I didn't want there to be any risk of these tilting and falling over. So as you can see, I put this together where there is overlap on all sides to keep it from tilting left to right and from the tire hitting that backstop and wanting to kind of tilt the back up. The other little detail is this final block here. So you'll feel when the tire, hopefully feel when the tire drops down onto this bit. Should be plenty of indication, hopefully, theoretically, for the driver to be like, okay, I'm in position. Also, obviously, as you can see, I left this part flat so that it also acts as a bit of a block for the tire to help prevent the vehicle from wanting to roll back. So as you might imagine, this is a pretty simple build, but there was a little bit of trickiness with the little support safety roll platform thing I added to the end there. What I actually did was use a program called Blender to model this build out and pre-built it digitally. That way I could see how much material I would need and if I could get the parts that I wanted using the least amount of material possible and most efficiently. So I modeled the main part of these ramps and then made a list of all the cuts I would need and the lengths of the board and which board to take the cuts out of, and then I came out and started building. So the overall length of the ramp was 48 inches, but since I had this platform, I cut the base level to about 43.5 inches, and that way the anti-roll base part would come out 4 to 5 inches on all sides. The next part was 40 inches, then 32, then 24, and finally at the top it was 16 inches. So these are all 8 inches of difference. So assembling the base actually tripped me up a little bit because I actually had to install the second board first so that I could get the anti-roll base plate installed. So once I had that put together, I just flipped it over and slipped the bottom board up to butt into that base plate and then screwed it in from the bottom. Then from there, it was just a matter of stacking these boards one by one, getting the end flush, and putting the screws in. So once the main ramp was built, then it was time to put on the backstop piece. My original plan was going to have a piece that actually spanned the full width of it, but I figured that probably wouldn't be necessary and I could make a little bit more efficient use of my scraps by cutting this one scrap piece in half. So I did that and then screwed it on fairly generously. Unfortunately, I didn't document the process of making the little rollback chalk bit because honestly I was a little unsure how I was gonna do it. Sifting through some of my scrap boards, I came up with a couple of good pieces, cut the bevel on them, pre-drilled the holes, and then put it into place. Now let's see if they actually work.
Whoa! They broke! That's how you test them.
Well, that didn't work. So the astute viewer who knows how things work with wood probably could have identified this problem earlier in the video, and that is the way I oriented these, attempting to be more efficient with my material use. I put these in an orientation where the grain of the wood became a liability. All the pressure of the tires when I rolled over that hump was placed squarely on the grain of the wood, and it could not bear the weight. Back to the drawing board. So here is the revised model. So as you can see, I removed the safety bump. With the vehicle up to this point on that angle, it was really having to take some juice to get it over that, as you could tell. And I just figured maybe it wasn't necessary. If I want to chalk the wheel, I'll just chalk the back wheels. And as you can see here, I actually have the end plate flush with the top of the last tier there. And then I stacked these. This is obviously the original block that was there. Thought it might be better to have this be like a full piece out, but I also wanted to try and protect the fenders of the vehicle when they come up there. Probably unnecessary, but it just gave me an excuse to reuse this piece. You can also see on the end here, I reoriented the board so that we're not working against the grain there. Obviously it's not really necessary at this point because it's not hitting that board the way it was originally. So once again, we're back to the point where we have to test it. I'm a bit nervous. So I don't have a spotter out with me today, so I'm actually going to use my action cam and view it on my phone here to help spot me trying to go up the ramps. It worked. Well, I'm not gonna lie, that had me shaking in my boots a little bit, but we're up on the ramps. I do think one thing I would do is make the transitions longer. I guess that's kind of a tricky thing to do when you're trying to, you know, not go out too far this way. Maybe what I would do is like have the first few shorter so that the top two could be a little longer. That might be a better way to do it so that you're not having to be so pressured about not overshooting the mark on the top. It worked out really well though. It wasn't really a problem getting it up there. It's just as the angle increases, the more gas you have to give it to get over those humps. It just makes it feel maybe a little sketchier than it actually is. So there you have it. That's the finished wood car ramp build. So far, so good. Now I just gotta try to put these things to use. And don't mind this blinker cap missing. Pretend that's not there. Oh, here comes the oh god. What? You want outside? You know, check them out, see what it is. Don't care? You care? No? From there I just flipped it over and slid the bottom board up. My god, dog. Why? Why? Take it out on her. Get her. Show her what's for. Oh, you're getting too aggressive. She's pissed. She's mad about it.